raised than they would make in a day worth of work, so they couldn't go to work. Or some of them, once the oil prices hiked, were already at work and they didn't have enough money to get home, and so they were stuck there. I mean, so it's a terrible situation.
To give you just a sense of what it's like there, the United Nations, they reported that that more than a quarter of the children in Burma are severely malnourished. So I mean that tells you something about a country. All the other countries in the region are experiencing incredible economic development. Burma is going backwards. And meanwhile, the leaders of this country are living lifestyles of the rich and famous. I mean, these guys are living it up.
Tan Shui's daughter's wedding that occurred last year was lavish, and everything was gold and diamond and crystal, and incredibly expensive wedding, which the people of Burma see that, and they see their government. I think it was one of the things that played into the outrage that we're seeing now from the Burmese people.
So why, I mean, who else is benefiting from the Burmese government? Like, why do they have any backing whatsoever at this point?
Well, I mean, Jonathan's hit on a few of the main things.
Timber, too, is a huge economic, their two biggest exports are oil and timber, and those are big industries.
Mineral, jade, teak wood.
Emerald.
Yeah, so they do have the rich in natural resources, very rich. In fact, like if you'd gone back to the time of independence, everyone probably would have predicted that Burma would be like a gem of Southeast Asia.
Well, does it have the possibility to be? I mean, is it like an unexplored?
The potential is just there, but not under a totalitarian and military dictatorship. I mean, that's rarely, if ever, an effective economic system. It needs capitalism.
Right, and in any case of a country that has these rich natural resources, it's just a matter of, engaging themselves in production and meaningful production that's going to move their country out of an economic slump. And as long as there's a military dictatorship that isn't really concerned with the economic well-being of their people, then I don't see it going there. So,
well, one thing an actor did to kind of address this issue was Jim Carrey put out a video urging people to contact their congressman, I believe.
And the UN.
And the UN, whenever
UN Security Council.
Exactly, when they were in town, to urge them to, help support the Burmese people. Now, do you think that celebrities, I mean, why do they have so much influence on the public sector?
They have a voice more than anything else, but at the same time, I don't know how much more influential Jim Carrey specifically has been on this than any other cause celeb in the past. I mean, you have a lot of celebrities rallying behind Sudan, you have a lot of celebrities rallying behind global warming, and it's almost to the point that when a celebrity gets behind a cause, people are like, oh, okay, so that's the celebrity for this cause,
Well, you think there's a certain bit of cynicism?
I think a lot of the reason behind why celebrities do this is just because if you see a celebrity on camera, you're going to kind of look and say, oh, what's he talking about? And if he's talking about an issue, you may, like you said, say, oh, this is just a celebrity for this issue. But at the same time, you're hearing about the issue. And, that, I guess, is really all they can, I mean, that's what they're trying to get, is exposure for the issue.
They do have a voice and they do have an audience.
And it might be a cynical point of view, but also, I mean, they're probably concerned with exposure for themselves as well, so.
Piggybacking off of the press that an event is getting.
Right, and also, I don't know if you guys have seen the Jim Carrey video, but I saw it myself, and while his message I totally agree with, I don't know, it might be just the, connotation I have with Jim Carrey, but I can't take him that seriously. It's kind of a ridiculous video.
The guy behind Liar,
He's just kind of...
I think it was also like, I mean, maybe this is just me again, but I could tell he was reading it from a teleprompter.
Yeah.
And it felt really removed. Like he was
so
kind
unnatural.
Yeah.
James, though, and Shireen, I think my view would be, look, anyone who is going to do anything, I'm not going to question their motives.
Yeah.
He's out there doing something, and how many actors and actresses are not? And anyone who's willing to use their celebrity for that kind of cause instead of selling sneakers or something else,
yeah,
I'm all for that.
But at the same time, though, I mean, he is an actor. I mean, how much extra effort does it take to memorize a script?
Well, that's true, but like my view would be exactly. It doesn't take a lot of effort, and yet it can have a huge effect relative to the amount of work that he's doing. So the more people like that who are willing to get involved and to say something and to speak out, I just say the better. And of course that goes for all of us too. I mean, like, what are we doing with our free time? I mean,
Yeah.
so.
And if it is so easy to read that script, then why aren't more people out there doing it?
Yeah. Well, that's a very good question.
You know, before we wrap the show, I'd like to know, what do you think, in a nutshell, is the future of Burma?
Well, I mean, at the rate things are going, unfortunately, I feel like the Burmese government is that correct?
Burmese
government.
All right. I don't know if that was right, but I think that the government there is going to end up basically squashing out all this rebellion and any opposition.
They have.
Yeah, I mean, basically they have, and I think.
Well, don't you think it'll hurt the legitimacy of the state whenever they're dealing in international affairs?
The state has no legitimacy, but they have oil. That's, I mean, just like they did this in 1988. I mean, they've already done this once, and the world's already seen this happen. History is repeating itself. A coup from the people is the only thing that's going to change the government in Burma.
It obviously has not changed the government.
You know, though, I mean, it's so easy to get really depressed and down when you see what's happened there, but somehow or another, I keep clinging idealistically to this quotation from Martin Luther King Jr. He says the arc of justice is long, or the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. And I would like to believe that that's the case. I sort of have this, to quote from another person, Gramsci, this pessimism of the intellect, but optimism of the will. Mm-hmm. You know, we can't despair, because if you do despair, then what is the alternative? You know?
Exactly. Well, that's it for tonight. But thank you for joining us on PlatForum, and thank you guys for coming on to this show. We'll hope to see you again next week. And thanks. I'm Nancy Chin.
PlatForum is brought to you by the University of Southern California's School of Cinematic Arts.